Welcome to episode 213 of the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman, coming to you on Tuesday, November 14th. Wanted to start off with an apology. Those of you that listened and watched to Sunday night, early morning, Monday episode had technical difficulties over the weekend. My high-def camera died on me, and I had a couple of podcasts Friday and Saturday without the high-def cam. I got a replacement one, tried a different one. That's what I used on Sunday night, Monday, and it did not come out well. There was a voice, a microphone attached to the camera that canceled out my good microphone, and the sound quality was really poor. So I got some messages. I do apologize. Anyone that stuck it out, I really appreciate it. I don't know if I need to recap real quickly what I said in that if you didn't listen to it, but it was about Rutgers basketball, which this episode's about as well. So thank you to everyone who listens and watches this podcast. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, and we're back up and running now. I got the same high-quality camera that I had been using back at it. So today I want to talk about Ace Bailey. I want to talk about Georgetown, and I'll just recap when I talk about the game or the preview, a little bit of a preview, what I mentioned after the Bryant game as well. So starting with Ace Bailey, officially signed. Program announced on Sunday. He had a ceremony after his game on Saturday, and it's historic. You know, I wrote that it was it's changed Rutgers men's basketball recruiting forever. There is no more ghosts of Lance Thomas, Tim Thomas, Isaiah Briscoe, Jay Williams. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody. All those top guys that Rutgers was seemingly close with. In signing, Troy Murphy was another one. That never happened. And the idea that Rutgers was never going to be able to sign a top kid, and obviously Ace Bailey is originally from Tennessee. He's a Georgia recruit. He's not a New Jersey recruit. We're working on one of those with Dylan Harper. But to get a national top three, number 3 recruit in the 24 class, 5-star, .9994 grade, his potential, sky's the limit. Offensively, he's scary. He could do it all. I think, I think he could play the 4. He's 6'9", but I think he's a wing. He's the 3. He's best when he's in space. And when he gets downhill to the rim, when he gets going, he at the level he's playing at now, he's unstoppable. When he gets to college, obviously it's a little bit different, but he's super, super athletic. He plays above the rim. He's got a pretty smooth shot mechanics. He can hit the 3. He's working on his mid-range game. He can create his own shot. He's a willing passer. One thing that I think has been impressive about him is he's intentionally developing into a complete player. Like, it's by design. And this summer, he worked on his passing, and a lot of recruiting analysts and scouts noticed it. He's improved as a passer. He sees the big picture, and he's becoming a complete offensive player. Defensively, he's a great rim defender. There was a highlight from Saturday. It's in my article that I wrote about him, where he basically went up in the air and took the ball out of the opponent's hands. It wasn't even a block. He just two-handed grabbed it out of his hands in the air. It was wild. And he's a really good rebounder. He's got to add some muscle, add some size. In transition, he's going to be just absolute nightmare for opponents. And he is just so versatile, and he's coachable. He's got a great attitude. He's been in on Rutgers for the whole year. He committed in January. Tremendous job by Brandon Knight and Steve Peichel and the whole coaching staff program for getting him signed early. That is a coup in and of itself. Just to close the deal and get him to sign early is a huge weight off their shoulders and a huge selling point now for the class of 25. They're in on a bunch of 5-stars in 2025. And Trey McKinney, who recently visited, Darius Acuff, who's going to visit. Darius Adams is another. Having Ace Bailey signed is a huge selling point. Not that it's likely he's going to be around when those guys come. Ace Bailey is projected right now as a lottery pick in the 2025 NBA draft. He's most likely going to be at Rutgers 1 year. But he is going to be a problem for a lot of teams, and he's a Rutgers Scarlet Knight. It's surreal. It's exciting. The 2024 class is coming together now. Wednesday is the last day of early signing period. Lathan Somerville is well, announced he was going to sign at a ceremony. He's a 6'10", 4-star big. Grew up as a guard. His father was a guard wing as a pro, played with TJ Thompson overseas, Rutgers assistant. And he's got a real handle. He could dribble. He can stretch the floor. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's a beast inside. He's a great rebounder, rim defender. I'm really, really high on him. He's going to be more than a one-year player, and he's just a huge find for Steve Peichel. And the way they're recruiting on a national level is just really impressive. And then you have Dylan Grant, who Smoke Williamson got from Michigan. He's AAU teammates with McKinney and Acuff. He's kind of an undersized four. Be interesting to see how they use him, but he can defend multiple positions. He's a tough kid. He's developing offensively, but he's got a pretty good shot for his size, and he's got high upside. And then you have Bryce Dortch, who's a natural wing, 6'8", a little more lengthy, rangy guy. Really, I think he's going to be a top-flight defender. Peichel compared to Mikhail McConnell in the press release. He can create his own shot. He is really good at finishing with contact. So this class is looking great right now. Technically, they're ranked number 9 nationally. Michigan State just passed him at number 8. Of course, Dylan Harper we're waiting on, who, by the way, was at Ace Bailey's signing ceremony with his mom. Huge sign there. No word on Dylan Harper in terms of when he expects to announce. He's, the signing period ends. Early signing period ends on Wednesday, so it's going to be a wait. He could commit, obviously, at any time verbally, but he won't be able to sign until the spring. And that's not an alarm. That's just fact in terms of the way the process goes. But this class is historic. It's also very well balanced in that you're going to have Ace, who's a one-year player most likely. If Dylan does ultimately come to Rutgers, he's a one-year player most likely. And then you have 3 foundational guys, that are huge building blocks for the future, and Somerville, Grant, and Dortch. So the recruiting that Rutgers men's basketball is doing and how they're out in front of 25, it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing, and can't say enough good things there. So let's move on. So a couple of things I did want to just, rehash in terms of what I said Sunday night after the Bryant win. I feel like people forget, people get very up in arms when they only beat, they beat Bryant by 9. It was close. I said they were playing with fire a little bit, with about 5-6 minutes to go. It was like a 1 or 2 possession game. I think one thing, and I did not say this on Sunday night, one thing that I think last year's team, the reason they were so efficient and effective against the low majors was Cam Spencer. Cam Spencer was lights out against these low major teams. He was a proven scorer. He felt comfortable, having played in the MAC with Loyola, and he just shredded those low major teams and took charge in a way that Rutgers was never really threatened last year by any low major. And this year, they're still trying to figure things out. I touched on Noah Fernandes and Austin Williams working their way back from, last year they had season-ending injuries. They're fully healthy now, but they got to get some rust out. They're also, older guys that are team guys that are trying to find their roles. I really hope that Noah Fernandes becomes more of the primary ball handler. I think he's extremely crafty and smart, high IQ. And I think you're going to see him take a bigger role soon, along with Derek Simpson, who I thought looked really good the last 2 games. Not perfect, not great shooting from the floor, but I thought he showed a maturity to his game, and also the way he was getting teammates involved. Also getting to the line. He was 8 of 8 from the foul line with a team-high 4 assists on Sunday. So I thought that was a really clutch performance. Obviously, Andre Hyatt has stepped up. He's been a leader. Apparently, he got Cliff fired up at halftime against Bryant, and Cliff had his best half of the season, had a double-double alone in that half. So they're going to need all these guys. Their numbers aren't pretty in terms of shooting. I have a couple here. What are they looking at here? 3-point range. They're pretty. They've been pretty brutal. 306 nationally at 24.6, and steals. They've really struggled with passing. They're 335th per KenPom, 15.4 steal rate on offense, which is not good. So they've struggled there. Defensive. They're rated number 31 efficiency-wise in KenPom. They played obviously 2. Bryant's a pretty solid offensive team. They had a bad shooting night. BU is not a good offensive team. So we'll see how they do against Georgetown, who is actually decent offensively. Well, they're 118th adjusted efficiency offense, but defensively, Georgetown is terrible. 254th, 105.7. So we'll see if Rutgers can get healthy there. Holy Cross beat them up inside. I mean, they dominated inside. They shot 59% against Georgetown from 2-point range. So this has to be a game you get Cliff going. You have to attack the rim. Don't worry about the three as much in this game. Just get to the hole, get to the rim, finish from the foul line, be aggressive, take the game to them. That's kind of my general keys for that game. I'll get a little more specific for tomorrow, Wednesday. But this is certainly a game Rutgers has to win. And they have a lot of talent, compared to Georgetown. Epps, the Illinois guard, is really good for Georgetown, but they're down a couple of players. Ishmael Massoud, who was on the Kansas State Elite 8 team last year. Rutgers has recruited him in the past. He's out injured. He's a really good stretch four shooter. So this is a game they should pound Georgetown inside and stifle defensively. I know the rack's going to be fired up. Ed Cooley coming to Piscataway. So I did want to touch on that briefly. I know that a lot has been said in terms of potential tampering with Cam Spencer. We know that he left really late in the game. And it was widely reported that Georgetown had reached out to him initially. I've seen some commentary and different tweets and just people on social media and comment boards saying that, Ed Cooley got Cam Spencer to enter the portal. So that's where I think, looking back on it, to be honest, it did seem very out of nowhere. I don't think it actually was. And that's just my own take. I could be wrong. But I don't think Ed Cooley is the reason that Cam Spencer entered the transfer portal. I think he was going to enter the transfer portal no matter what. I think that Ed Cooley kind of became, I don't know, he kind of became the easy target. And I'm not defending any potential tampering that he may have done. Obviously, that's a problem, and Rutgers had to deal with that a lot this offseason. It's well documented. I've talked about it a bunch. But what I am saying is Cam Spencer has a brother, Pat, played at Northwestern. He was in the G League. I'm not sure about this start of this year. He might be playing professionally overseas, but he's got an agent. So I'm pretty sure Cam Spencer knew what the transfer portal was and the NIL market before Ed Cooley potentially called. I'm pretty sure his agent and his brother were well aware of it. And I think maybe the way it went down made people think that it was all Ed Cooley getting in Cam's ear and saying, hey, you should leave. And then, the bottom line is Georgetown wasn't even one of his 4 visits. And he didn't even visit all 4, but Cam released the final 4. Georgetown wasn't even in it. So strategic. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. Who knows? Cam's camp could have intentionally leaked that, to kind of be as a diversion. You never know. So anyway, yell and scream all you want at Ed Cooley. I don't care. But just know that there's a little bit more context to, I think, the situation. But yes, I hope they beat their brains in and win by 30. But a win's a win's a win. You just got to keep moving forward. You're going to play Howard on Saturday. Seth Towns, in his 8th year of eligibility, was declared eligible today. He played at Ohio State for a long time. He's had a bunch of injuries, so he'll be there for Howard. So, you got to get to 4-1 going into Thanksgiving. They're off the whole Thanksgiving week. And then, you have a big, is it FDU or St. Peter's they play after Thanksgiving. And then there's that stretch where they have Illinois, Wake Forest, and Seton Hall. So that will tell us a ton about this team. We're on the Mag watch. When will he come back? I would say, my guess is after Thanksgiving. I don't expect him to play this week, but you never know. But this team's a work in progress. That's the basic point. And I know people want to panic. I know that the national media is kind of counting Rutgers out already, putting them in the bottom 4 of the Big Ten. The Big Ten's wide open. Indiana struggled mightily against a bottom 10 Army team at home the other day. Maryland has now lost to UAB and Davidson. Not terrible teams at all. But 100 range, 90 to 80 to 100 range, 110 range in KenPom. Princeton right now, I believe last time I checked, was 91. They beat Hofstra, so they're looking good. But there's a lot of things. Michigan State lost to James Madison, so they play Duke on Tuesday. There's a long way to go, and this team is absolutely a work in progress. They haven't shot very well. They've shooting 48% on layups. They haven't passed very well. But it's obvious that in the half court and offensively, you're still getting a feel for each other. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And that's okay. As I said on Sunday, Monday, if you can develop, continue to get better, but win while you're doing it, that's a heck of a lot better than developing while you're losing. And these games were always a little dicey. So they took care of business pretty well in that second half against BU. And listen, the way they closed out the Bryant game is a good learning experience for this team. They closed it out. It was a close game. It was uncomfortable, and they were able to do it. So that's encouraging. Georgetown on Wednesday. Recruiting. I'll have something out on Lathan Somerville when he officially signs, but better days are ahead. And exciting times are here for this season. Thanks so much for listening and watching once again here at the Scarlet Faithful Podcast.